What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to The Climb. I am your host, X-Ray, and join me once again, Mr. Venom. How are you doing, sir?
Pretty good. Happy to be back on the climb for this week, right
I,
before our bye week next week,
I
for the summit meetup.
I'm excited for the Summit meetup. Totally did not forget it was Venom's week. I was trying to skip him, so
Bro got beef with me because I speak the truth on the climb, and some
but
people
don't
don't like the
worry,
truth.
we're on the schedule. We're on. Venom is here, and our special guest this week is our returning co-host, Mr. Gar. How are you doing, sir?
What up? I am doing a-okay if it wasn't like freaking 90 degrees humid right now.
Oh, I definitely agree. Um, we're in Idaho, and it's 100 degrees almost every day here.
Speak for
I
yourself. That's a Boise. It's 78 today. Feeling good
Okay,
here in East
all right,
Idaho.
all right. Okay,
Holding
okay,
it down in East Idaho.
okay. Whatever. But well, hang on. Sorry, I totally skipped Gar because we were talking about other things. But Gar, you won out versus Peters Anonymous this week. How does that feel?
There you go. I mean, it felt good after two consecutive losses in a row.
Mhm.
I definitely feel like our team is starting to come to terms of what we need to work on as well as what we need to do in order to start winning.
Mhm.
And, granted, it is a shorter season, so perhaps it's a little too late for all of these drastic changes, but I still am very hopeful for, this upcoming weekend playoffs.
Excuse me. Sorry. And yeah, and you guys are sitting at third right now. COI has the head to head with you guys.
hmm
So the positive news though is you guys don't have to play the fifth or fourth place match because you guys have head to head versus Ship Without a Captain and Feeders Anonymous now. So you guys are not having to play the fifth or fourth place matches. You're going straight to the third. However,
Let's go.
I don't. You guys don't have the option to get first, unfortunately, because both or no, you guys have head to head versus the Gauntlet, but not COI.
Yeah, so depending on how this next upcoming week goes, it'll determine our seeding.
Yep.
But at the very least, we are top half.
Hey, that's a win in our books. But let's get into the week 4 games. Week 4 officially over, and there were a lot of really good games this week.
Oh yeah.
There were only two game 3 games, but however, a couple of the game 2 games were pretty close. So I'm excited to get into that.
Two of those series were not. They weren't. Let's not fool ourselves. Two of the 5 series were kind of blowouts.
Listen,
My lawyer says not to comment, but I will agree.
It's okay. We'll get to those.
we'll get to them. But
There's 3 good series.
starting off with the first one, Ganking Private Ryan versus Ship Without a Captain. So game 1, pretty close. I honestly think this game down to which team kind of just chose to fight and kind of engage. Whether it was GP3 or SWC, both teams found picks and either took an objective or pushed the lane after the fight had ended. But in the end, Killswitch just had a really strong, really good game on Graves. Just a really big reason why they took this win, and just really good objective control overall. Game 2, never saw diff. The
Oh
Ezreal,
yeah.
I think Ezreal was like 15-2 at the end of the game or something like that.
It was like 14-3, something like
Yeah,
that.
it
But
was
yeah,
it was a lot of kills and not a whole lot of deaths. So yeah, and yeah, I think just GP3 had a really good executed game. Ryan was ahead. Brissy was creating a lead in the top lane, um, and yeah, everyone's just playing off their. Gosh, it's been a long day, and I'm losing words. But moving on, game 3. I just like this quote from Neversaw from game 3. Fuck it, we ball. Level 1, they invade and they get a flash, which helps create kind of like this early lead um, for GP3, but they kind of struggle to kind of hold that lead, I should say, because SW3 comes back and kind of gets a lead in the mid game, but they do happen to throw it in the game 3 with just mispositioning and poor team fights. And something we're doing this week is we're selecting player of the series. So we're just picking, us three will pick a player that we think executed well and, just was a carry or had a really big impact on their series. And so for me personally, I went with Neversaw. I think she played absolutely out of her mind, especially in Game 2. Game 3, she also played extremely well in the Sivir, so props to her. But let's hear from our co-host. I'm going to start with you, Gar.
Well, I will say that this game was definitely a banger to watch, especially Game 1. That one was way more back and forth than I thought it was. Because you'd go through, besides the very long pause at the very beginning, but we went through so many different phases of team fighting, and it looks like that GPR was really going to dominate it with the Galio, Jarvan, and Seraphine combo, like locking everyone down. But later on, you'll see that there's these mispositioned jungle fights that Ship Without a Captain were able to capitalize on. And because of the separation that happened between their front line going off somewhere trying to get kited by Graves, well, you know, either the Kai'Sa or Seraphine are getting locked down by the rest of their team with the Leona, it was just really difficult for them to actually pull off the, sort of organization that they wanted. And so game 1 went towards Ship Without a Captain, which honestly, very good showing from them after the somewhat shaky showings they had recently. Game 2, definitely a never saw a diff, as you said. The Ezreal got super fed super early. There was a lot of good plays where PPP definitely played around bot side a lot more than the last game, and so he really put ahead the lead that they wanted throughout their game. I will say Eevee's bad trait of being a little hyperactive definitely did give over more gold than needed to be necessary. But at the end of the day, she was just super fed, and with a bunch of really good pick plays that they made late game, especially the ones during bot push where we had Ryan and Brissy just pushing down mid lane while Eevee was stalling their backs as best as she could. They got a secured backdoor there in a 1-1 game. Game 3, as you said, really aggressive early game led to a snowball effect on top of the Sivir. And thanks to all the objective control they were able to establish with the Talia Pantheon combo, as well as Brissy on his signature Ornn, there was just nothing that Ship Without a Captain was able to really do at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And Venom, your thoughts? Or
Yeah.
wait, sorry, Gar. What was your player of the series? Just out of curiosity.
I forgot about that.
No, you're good.
Yeah, no, my player of the series was also Neversaw. She played exceptionally well, despite all different factors in the game, and I think she helped lead her team to victory.
Yeah, for sure. Venom.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest. I watched the series as it happened. Did not review anything. I do remember. No, I watched it, but like, I'll be honest. I was gonna rewatch this one, but I do remember Killswitch kind of giga gapped PPP in jungle in game 1, and kind of in game 3, Killswitch's Lilia was kind of cooking early. But like you guys said, Neversaw kind of took over game 2 and 3. I think Ship Without a Captain played really well most of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for a team that I don't know exactly what place they're in. I think they're kind of middle of the pack group.
They're fourth right now, and
yeah, so
they're unfortunately cannot get. They are either getting fourth or fifth, unfortunately, in Pool B. They're
That's
sitting
fine.
at
Well,
3 points.
I think they had to forfeit a series again. I think
They
it was
did.
against the Gauntlet. They had to forfeit,
Yep.
so it's like. But I think that team is really strong. I think GPR, I keep always mess that up. I think
okay.
Ganking Private Ryan has been getting better as the season's gone on. I think
sure.
Neversaw, like they're realizing like, hey, we have to focus. Like Neversaw has to solo carry these games, or they kind of get slammed. Like Ryan's playing good, but he's playing stuff like Galio. His Talia's always solid. Brissy's playing tanks. Like if Neversaw falls behind, their team pretty much collapses. Like yes, PPP can play some damage dealers, but like you need Neversaw to win. They're kind of one dimensional in that sense, but I think they played really well this series. I think Brissy, my boy Brissy popped off, put some respect on him going against was it Chris Buto is their
Yep.
top player, the
Yeah.
Masters player. Bro playing against Chris Buto, more like Chris Boot ass against Brissy. Brissy popped off. No, I think Brissy played really well against as most of these series in Group B against a very strong top laner, Masters plus. Um, and for that reason, my player of the series is Brissy because we expect Neversaw to pop off. No offense to Neversaw, I do want to give her credit. It is difficult to play as well as she did, but Brissy going into the series, most people probably expected Brissy to not play that well into a Masters, a tier 1 top laner, and he played very well. He got some kills. Was very effective on his Ornn. I think he played Jax as well. I can't think of the third champ
He
he
played
played.
Mordekaiser, then Jax, then
Ornn.
Then Ornn.
yes.
Yeah, the Ornn Jax were very good. I don't quite remember how good the Mordekaiser was, but I'm sure it was fine. But
Oh wait, no, he was
yeah.
no, he was Volibear.
Oh yeah. It was
Brissy.
it was Volibear. Yeah, Volibear Jax.
His
Ornn.
Volibear is usually solid. But no,
Yeah.
like I said, I give my player of the series to Brissy because
Yeah.
I think he played above expectations against a better, like a Masters player.
For sure. Yeah. No, I totally agree. And on that note, Ganking Private Ryan has actually locked their position for playoffs. They are locked in to Pool A 4th seed. Even if they do happen to win their next series 2-0, Asteria still has head-to-head over them. And even if CryPTID somehow goes 2-0 against Cyberbullies, they also have Ganking Private Ryan has head-to-head versus CryPTID. So they are actually locked into the 4th seed for Pool A. So congratulations, Ganking Private Ryan. Golf clap.
Probably where
Golf
they were expected to go in that group, honestly. Third,
So-
fourth.
The group is really stacked.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the hardest group this season in my opinion.
One of the hardest.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, there's multiple groups here, guys.
Yeah, there's all two
all
groups.
two of them. So, but let's move on to our next series. This one's pretty easy. Cyberbullies versus Dognitas.
Oh boy.
So
here's the glaze fest.
here's
mid too easy. Mid too easy. Get ready. Here we go. Mid too easy.
Here are my
glaze
notes.
off.
Here are my notes. Mid too easy. Game 2. Mid too easy. Play of the season. Player of the season. Player of the series. Mid too easy.
Glazing.
It's true. That's in his notes.
It is. It's
His
in my notes,
notes
guys.
literally just say mid too easy. That's it. He didn't put any other information
So
about these games.
because when I watched it, it was just so one-sided. Like it just wasn't even close. He actually sent me the pictures. He went 21-1 in
Bro, scoreboard
combination.
watching. That's crazy.
He sent me him. Okay,
Not me.
I'm just looking. I'm just observing.
Not me. I would never.
So
Never that.
I will say I do think this came down to one, Jason not being there. I think this series goes a whole lot different if Jason is there. Jason said he had to, before he was even drafted, he said, "Hey, I'm gonna be gone a couple weeks." So the one thing I'm worried about for Dognitas is because I've heard that Jason's actually going to be gone for quarterfinals and semifinals.
Yep.
So the question is, what is Dognitas going to look like without Jason? So I think that's something Dognitas needs to kind of like realize and think about with going into week 5. And then they do
I'm
have
sure
that.
they're already thinking about
Yeah,
that.
and then they do have their break week because they are top 3, so they don't have to play the 4th, 5th match. So they will have a break week, or an extra break week, I should say. So we'll see how they match up. And then I'm gonna actually send this one to Venom, because I have no other notes.
Oh yeah, shocker here.
Oh man, the notes that just say
Oh
mid
my
too easy.
god.
Who could have saw that
Oh my,
coming?
it's a family show, or else I do a hand motion to show what X-Ray was doing for mid too easy there. Um, no, I think right. This is a very rough series for Hamea. I do wanna not to give him not to discredit mid too easy. Obviously, mid too easy was expected to win the mid lane anyways, but like losing your jungler and having to play with a completely new jungler on less than a week's notice, and then having to go against one probably the best mid jungle pairing that Summit has this season, and OT Gator and mid too easy is an insanely hard thing to do. Because even listening, because I watched it from Nico's perspective, because I think he was the only one that streamed it, and like
Yeah.
the comms just weren't there. Like there was times that the jungler, like Hamea said, like, "Hey, wait, I have E in 4," and the jungle just ganked, and like they'd get a flash, but like if your middle laner has his abilities, you probably get more out of it, or you can force a bat. Like there's more you can do out of it. So I think a lot of miscommunication in that mid lane. And I think I do truly believe, not that Dognitas 100% wins that 2-0, if like not that crazy that they'd win 2-0 no matter what if Jason was there, but it was literally if it was like a night and day difference. Their jungle, no offense to him, but he was like asking Nico about certain plays that like jungles, you as a jungler of that tier, you should know whether you can do that or not. Um, and as somebody on GPT, I know that um, when you're playing mid or AD and you're having to micromanage your jungle and your team, it is very hard on your individual game, like your individual mechanics.
Mm.
I know Pipe I had this when Power of Friendship. Rob had this on DPT, where if you're trying to shot call from AD or mid, your gameplay individually goes down. I think that was kind of what happened to Nico. And like I said, he had a couple bad plays bot, which his Ziggs like accidentally he flashed a little too far, tanked a tower shot and died, and gave a double kill to a Jinx. But no, overall, I think with Jason, this series goes is a lot closer than it is. My player of the series for this, let me make sure because I typed this earlier. I did put OT Gator, um, strictly because when their best player is their jungle, well, technically second best player, but one of their best players is jungle, and he is out, you have to capitalize. And I think game one, OT Gator kind of carried that game. He was always there for counter ganks for mid too easy. He was there to help mid too easy and like if any wave stuff, objective control. Gator played extremely well game one, and then game two, kind of a similar thing. Also, shout out to Luton. He played really fucking well.
Mm-hmm.
His laning phase, he had a couple rough patches in lane. That if Nico didn't like kind of just int flash into one of them, he's kind of getting bulldozed in that lane. But his mid to late game team fighting was very good.
Yeah, and not to discredit. Wow, I actually lost what I was gonna say.
Not to
So,
discredit mid too easy. I got you. I got you.
God, I love mid too easy,
Oh,
man.
also, sorry, one last thing. I think Briz coming back is very big for Cyberbullies.
Oh yeah.
oh
Um,
yeah,
but I do think the difference between Dunk and Briz is smaller than the difference between Jason and whatever that jungle's name was.
oh
I think
yeah,
I think there's like a canyon between Jason and that jungle, and I do think Briz is probably better like game knowledge than maybe Dunk, but I think it's way closer. So the excuse of they didn't have Briz, like save it just I don't want to hear it. Briz is very good, but Dunk is also very good, but that jungler that replaced Jason was not nearly as good.
yeah. I literally DM'd Briz after, they won the series. I was like, Briz, your team don't need you, lol.
RuneScape needs Briz.
Yeah,
The
RuneScape.
OSRS chat needs Briz.
So, so, but I'm excited to see Briz come back. And Gar, your thoughts on this series?
I'll keep mine short and simple. At least going off of Nico's POV, it definitely was a lot of team communication that wasn't there because Jason isn't there. I'm not going to discredit Lapis because he is joining in as a very, last minute substitution, and I don't really know their history either. Maybe they don't really play competitive, like, organized league like that.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, not to discredit the jungler, but he may
Yeah,
not
I
have...
think Lapis did fine for what he had to do as an emergency substitute. But as Venom was saying, there is a very huge difference between Jason, who is all ego, will call out every single play that he wants to make, and you're gonna have to force him to not make that play, versus someone who has to ask for the play, which, as Venom knows from DPT, or as some other people know from GKC, sometimes I have those moments where I'm very uncertain with my plays, and even though it sounds like it's the best idea to ask people for decision making, every single second matters, and if your carries have to, take the time out to think for the plays for you, it decreases the gameplay for them. Reiterating again, a lot of the fights for Cyberbullies went really well. I definitely think bot lane was a lot more heavily favored towards Dognitas, but because of some plays that happened where it's either mispositioning or vision control loss or just like a lack of synergy overall, bot lane started getting ahead, and so my MVP for this game is actually Luton. Or Luton. I don't know how you really pronounce it. I'm going to say Luton though, but I think he did really well. He managed to keep it under racks when Nico was bullying him like all throughout the first 10 minutes of the game, and as soon as he started picking up gold, he actually was able to maintain that lead, where sometimes you see our lower elo players sometimes throw that lead away because they don't really know how to use the gold effectively, or some decision making that they make cost them the game because they're the carry. But Loyton was able to keep himself composed and actually like stay useful throughout the rest of the game, and so that's my shout out to you.
And the one thing I do want to say about Loon before we move on is he actually did stream his POV.
Did he?
Yeah, but it was only shared to selective individuals because there were some.
That's fine. I didn't want to see Soap's garbage ass support
So-
gameplay on Janna. That's fine, bro. He's gonna listen to just this, and he's gonna type in that chat. But bro, the Janna was not it.
But yeah, I think honestly, like for being a tier 4 player, his game knowledge is actually very high for someone of his rank. So I will give him props for that.
Very good pick.
Let's move on to our next series, Asteria's Kittens versus CryPTID. And this one did not get streamed, unfortunately.
It did.
It did? By
Asteria
who?
streamed, or not Asteria, sorry, Array streamed
Array streamed the
2 days
VOD
ago.
yesterday or the day before.
Oh, well, I didn't get to see it, so... But...
You're not missing much.
Yeah, because... So, what I did...
I'm being honest.
What I did is I asked Sparks for a little summary. So the one thing I do know is CC did have a sub for both their games. They did not have Peach Tea Princess, which I think is a...
Yeah, they did, didn't they? I
No.
thought they changed their name. That's what I thought Noah said that the PhD Princess changed her name to something.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
At least that's what I thought.
They'd
Noah
had
told
a
me.
sub at least.
Oh
though,
no! Oh, they had a sub
somewhere
for their ADC, which is
For Iokben.
Yeah, for Iokbon. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was like PhD Princess played because I remember Noah told me.
Okay, so so she's Bakery Bunny. Okay, I thought that was their...
Yes.
Yeah, so they had a new ADC,
which is spicy cilantro.
Yes, that was 100% a sub.
But yeah, and they did have to sub in Maneth Peanut though for game 1 for the side of Asteria's Kittens. They had Space Rose come in, and not a bad showing, 1, 2, and 6 on the Sejuani. Sorry, I'm long day. But honestly, it was just really good team fights. Slow leads generated all lanes in an objective 5, so we won the team fights, and that got us out of hand, and things got out of hand from there. They had a 23-minute game and an 18-minute game. I think that's one of the fastest games we've had is an 18-minute game, at least summit-wise.
Let's see.
So, and
it was closer to 19. It was like 18 and a half.
Or yeah,
1850.
Yeah, 1855. So sorry, 19 minutes, but still, that's probably one of the fastest games we've seen here in Summit. So, props to them. And then one thing I do want to say for Game 2 is Corey had an extremely great game, 9-0-9, so really well. And then, so what I did is I kind of just asked Sparks, who do you really choose for player of the series? And he said Array. Facilitate Asteria as so much, and team got to go big on that. So, congrats, Array, for getting player of the series. Or from me. I don't know what everyone else picked. That's a lie. I do, but I don't remember. So, but yeah, I think AK, I mean, we kind of know CryPTID struggles a lot, so I don't really know what's gonna happen. Oh my god! I just realized CryPTID is also locked in actually for 5th seed.
What?
I just realized that because even if they go 2-0, they lose. So 4th and 5th seed.
They're in the harder group and have only won one game. Like I could have guessed that they were locked into the 5th seed.
I just realized that just now. The GP3 I knew ahead of time, but
who's GP3?
Yeah, who's GP3?
See, I keep wanting to say that because I'm thinking of RP3. That's who I'm thinking of. But I say GP3. Yeah. So
RD4 or whatever his name is. Just kidding.
Riven Player 3, aka a lot of things.
A lot of things, but that's all I really have for this series. So I'm gonna actually send it to Gar this time.
My main thing from this game was ban the LeBlanc support. Thank you.
I'm surprised it got through after its first showing. Last week, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, last week. Last week, yeah. I'm surprised it was not just just a permaban because that was very impactful last series. But if that's all you got, Venom, what are your thoughts?
Kind of a boring series. Not. Yeah, it was just kind of a boring series. Like Asteria's Kittens kind of just ran them. Like, Agu popped off on her like. There's just
right. Agu Renekton went crazy.
Agu's Renekton just was like solo killing their enemy top laner, and it's just like it's. I don't want to shit on CryPTID, but they kind of just lost in like every single lane and jungle. Like they were just kind of losing everywhere. Actually, I don't even think their jungle lost that bad. Like actually, you know what? That was the one point I did want to make. PhD Princess did play extremely well with 3 losing lanes. I think it was Diana and Lilia. The Lilia was actually very good. And as Gar knows, if your entire team is getting their ass kicked, it's very hard to do well in the jungle. Because it's like they just steal all of your the enemy team just walks in and invades you at all moments. So I'd like to shout out PhD Princess. I know I've given CryPTID a lot of shit, but PhD Princess's Lilia played really well, and the Diana was okay. It wasn't like pop off, but it was still pretty good in a losing match. But no, I think they kind of just lost all 3 lanes. Like Array and Asteria were just double killing bot lane or like forcing them out. Agu popped off game 1, then kind of soft trolled game 2 with the Varus early game, but
yeah,
it was a good series. My player of the series was going to be Agu, but then I forgot that he went like 4 and 5 or 5 and 6 on Varus.
Yeah.
So I went with Asteria. I think Array and Asteria both, like, it was between both of them. And like I said, I just think Asteria and Array popped off as a bot lane. So ideally, I'd like to give player of the series to the bot lane combined. Um, but
Oh shoot, I never said mine. Sorry for interrupting you, Venom.
No, you're good.
you picked Array, I think.
Yeah, I did pick Array. Would also like to mention, since you mentioned PT Princess went to jungle, is that they role swapped Guanabon to support. So I think we'd probably need to see next series to see whether or not that change is actually good for them.
They play Cyberbullies.
Yeah, which is gonna be it's gonna be very skewed. But if they can show some more success against Cyberbullies, which is arguably one of like the hardest matchup for them,
Mm-hmm.
maybe this change up, even though they get placed seed 5, they might be able to show something good for playoffs week 1, since they will be playing against 4th seed on Pool B. And depending on how these last matches go, they can either be going into I believe Ship Out Without a Captain or Feeders Anonymous, which I think they're going to have a decent matchup too.
Yeah,
So
they're playing. So Feeders Anonymous and Chip Without a Captain are playing this week, and
yeah,
they're both 3-1. So we won't. Or Ship Without a Captain has 3 points. Feeders Anonymous has 1. So we won't really know who's going where until that series is finished.
yeah. But I have good hopes for them if this role swap works out, and you know Ayakben returns for week 5.
For sure. All right, and we're gonna move on to series number 4, the Gauntlet versus COI. Our another 3-game series. Game 1, Heiko Ezreal was extremely fed, and COI was just really unable to kill him because he basically would eat in, get down to 1 HP, and then like just live somehow. Just able to just kill off people, or his team would come in and save him. So really well done. Game 2, CUI, or I should really say, I don't know why that note says there. Nightmare had a really good early game, getting Strand and Gamer D ahead in that bot lane. Pretty much just split the map. Was down there for at least like 6 or 7 minutes, just killing them. I think just had 2 really successful games. Got a double kill both times. And was just able to just really create a lot of pressure in the jungle, and then just walked around the map helping Tubby, and then also Pyrosis in both their lanes. And then also Tubby had an excellent game on Asol. I think like at 15 minutes, they were like 4-0, 4-0-3 or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But they were incredibly strong at really early on. And then game 3, it was pretty close. It came down to the final fight of Dragon. I think it was like a 3rd or 4th Dragon for CUI. And they just teamed wiped him, TP'd to top, ran it down, and just ended the game. Pretty clean. Nightmare kind of struggled this series as well. And I think he was like 3-7 or something like that. So not the best series, but Tubby is my player of the series for this one for their game 2 Asol and game 3 Ari. The Ari was like 9-1 if I'm not mistaken. So just really big impact. I'm surprised they keep giving Tubby the $500 skin.
Stop giving Tubby Ari. Oh my god.
It's like a buff. I feel like it's a buff having the $500 skin sometimes. Only for Tubby though. Only for Tubby. So, but I'm going to send it to Venom.
Wait, real quick. Which game did you say that Nightmares, or which game did you say Nightmare struggled in?
Game 3.
Game 3.
Oh, okay. I thought you said game 2 for a second. I
No,
was like,
no,
went
his
12-4 on Zed jungle.
Yeah, no, game 2.
Like,
game 2. He was kind of the reason they had such a strong lead, just because of like the first 10 minutes, because he was just sitting bot lane killing Heiko and Sai on repeat. So
am I misremembering this series? Because I feel like, did he repeat gank? I thought they lost bot lane most game, like all 3 games.
No, game 2. So what happened is,
guess it's
Uh,
hard because I only watched it from Nightmare's perspective, so I have no idea
yeah.
what was happening that
So yeah,
much.
game two, he cleared his bot side jungle. They were on red side, so he took his blue side and then walked. Bot got like 2 flashes, but still happened to kill them. And then walked into enemy red side and the bot side. Cleared like 2 or 3 camps there, and then just walked bot again, and killed them again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm
So
looking because Heiko was about 4-5 and Strand was 0-2, but he had 7 assists. Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
I just misremembered what was happening
Yep.
that because I was like Heiko. In my head I was like I know Heiko has kills. Because Heiko played really well this whole series.
hmm
I think Colin and Strand gave up a couple early kills, but stayed in there for most of the series. Game 1, 2, and 3.
hmm
Game 1, Heiko just got fed on Ezreal. He had a really good Baron fight. He popped off. Um, there's not much like game 1. They fell behind early and they just couldn't bring it back. For COI.
hmm
Game 2. Game 2 was I think was it game 2 or 3? Pi was on a rail. I think it was game 3. Pi went on Aurelia, got an early
Irelia or
kill.
Pyrosis was on Irelia game 3.
Yeah, he got a level 1 kill, and an invade, and then he just kind of bullied Kibcath the entire lane like he did the whole series. I think he got a triple or a quadra at that last drag fight.
Yep, it was a
If
quad.
I'm
It was a
Yeah.
quadra.
Yeah, he got a quadra that last fight again, and they had a level 16 Kassadin on the other team. But no, it's COI is an interesting team because they really don't have like they definitely have individually good performances, but their team is not really built for one player to like hard carry every game. So they're not like a Saving Private Ryan, like where it's like, hey, we need Neversaw to win this, and we play around Neversaw. COI is definitely like we're gonna win with macro and team fighting. And I think it showed in game 2 and 3 with how they won this series. Like setup had 2 early kills on Kassadin, like pre-6, kept getting kills here and there. He hit level 16, I think, by the end of the game, and then couldn't do anything because they just team fighted really well.
Mm.
Tubby is playing extremely solid. Um, he swapped from support to mid and has shown that he's just as proficient as in mid as he is at support.
Mm.
Nightmare's good jungle. Like I said, the weak side Warriors bot, Strand and Gamer Destroyer. But fun series to watch. Hopefully next time it won't be just from Nightmare's perspective, and we get it on stream so I can actually watch what Pi does top lane. But my player of this series, it's hard with that in mind, with how team oriented they play. I couldn't really like pick. I picked Pi because I know he does a lot of shot calling and stuff, and I know uh, when I from Nightmare hitting tab, he was up like 60, 70. He was pushing he had a lead and was using the lead, and then the Aurelia team fighting and just skirmishing was very good.
Mm.
But realistically, it's kind my player of the series is their macro and team fighting because they played well as a team together.
Yep, for sure. And Gar, your thoughts?
Boy, okay. Uh, I won't talk about game 1 because Heiko and Sai played that phenomenally. As it's very eerily similar to another game that we'll talk about in the upcoming.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, we could even reference it back to Neversaw's game. But like, Fed Ezreals are going to stomp you across the map, and Heiko Ezreal is probably one of the most scary threats there is, especially with having like the top tier support on their team. And it really showed off with game 1. Game 2, and this really tilts me. So this is more for constructive advice for the Gauntlet. That level 1 top play should never have happened if you guys were 5-pointing, because we have Nightmare walking straight through river into the bush behind blue and get behind set. If your jungler or mid laner was there, that would never have happened. So I think it's I'd say props to COI for punishing the fact that there was no one holding there, but in the future, I really hope that when the Gauntlet does line up like that, they need to have people covering all entrance points to the jungle so that the top laner doesn't get ahead and, it snowball from there. Nightmare also did really well by playing around bot side the entire game. He got the size and Heiko's sums down within the first 2 ganks, and he just kept abusing it because he's an assassin and he doesn't really need the flash. Because, especially with Zed, gold is more important than XP at this point. So, prioritizing all the bot ganks led him to being super fed and hard controlling how fights should go. And since they put Tubby on Asol, they were able to start scaling because there was literally no jungle threat because of the Lilia pick, which I also had a little bit of an issue with because Lilia sucks into 4 range champs. And, it just so happens that we had Pyrosis on Vayne, we had double ranged spot, and then you have an Asol that can just fly away. So it's a really difficult game to play as Lilia. And so Nightmare was able to excel his lead by having a champion that's actually relevant with the draft. Game 3 was definitely a lot closer. I think the Gauntlet was definitely a lot more cohesive with what they wanted to play for. They started playing towards bot side again. And even though Conflict of Interest did try to go for the same playstyle where they wanted to focus bot lane so that they were able to strong side Strand without having to worry about Pyrosis because he's on his Irelia and Tubby's, doing his own thing mid lane. It definitely was a lot closer with, a lot of misplays and caught opportunities by the Gauntlet. And thanks to that last, objective fight, COI managed to clutch I think it was. They only lost 1 person in that fight, or maybe 2.
Yeah, no, they
just
lost.
ran it
They only
down.
lost 1. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was just Gamer D.
Yeah,
and so they just ran it down top lane. So, overall, Conflict of Interest definitely played the macro a lot better, as Venom was saying. But I think just if we can fix the Gauntlet's early game on the top side of the map, they will be a much more difficult opponent to deal with in playoffs.
For sure.
And even though they did lose, I want to give my player of the series to Heiko for being able to stay dominant throughout all 3 of the games, despite being behind some of them. Or despite his team being behind all of them.
I can respect that pick. And yeah. So the one thing I do have for this series, to wrap it up, the Gauntlet locks in first seed as long as they win 1 game. They don't have to win the series.
Shoot.
They only have to win 1 game. So they could win the first game and then just troll the rest of the series if they really wanted to. So, listen, Gauntlet, I'm not saying anything, but just letting you know. But let's move on to
totally troll.
BTS.
I mean, all they have to do is win the first game and then they control.
No, that's against the rules.
I mean, I'm not gonna say anything, but let's move on to our last series, BT. Oh my gosh, I did it again.
Take another sip, baby. Let's go.
Take another sip. Woo! PTS versus Feeders Anonymous. Game 1, Sprinkler just taking over the early game. The Shen just kind of went nuts against the Mordekaiser. The Kraken Slayer, it was, I think, oh gosh, what was the first item? I think it was
Hollow Radiance.
Yeah, Hollow Radiance, and then into Kraken, into Deadman's. It was just a spicy build. And then them just able to carry the late game on the Draven. Draven was just so fed. I think they both were 7-2 or 7-3, something like that. And then game 2. Personally, the game feels a lot like the draft if. Twitch Braum is losing 9 times out of 10 to Esnot. The Ezreal, just super big lead. Them gets 5 kills in the span of 3 minutes because they just keep on trying to kill him. Shen uses R, and they just get to kill like 3 more people for free. And Them gets like 2 of them, if I'm not mistaken. So Them just becomes an unkillable machine after that, and that's like 15 minutes into the game. So it's just really hard for Feeders Anonymous to even do anything, because I remember David did get a lead in the top lane. He was like 4-1, but
Yep.
just was not able to do anything because of how behind the rest of his team was. And then my player of the series is Thim, actually. Game 1, just really good on the Draven. Stayed pretty even, but had a little bit of a lead. And then game 2, just exceptional Ezreal play. We had 3 games this week where just an Ezreal was picked and then popped off, and then it was just Ezreal unkillable. So congrats to them. And Gar, let's hear your thoughts.
I'll do my best to stay unbiased. Game 1 definitely felt like a really huge stomp out from our team. Sprinkler did pop off on the Shen again. We did decide to draft it during first 3, which probably threw some of them into a loop because he probably expected to draft or ban more top laners and get rid of the Shen. But despite the counter matchup, Sprinkler did pull out ahead of David and was able to, start doing the whole Hollow Radiance into Kraken Slayer gimmick. I will absolutely trash myself. I positioned so poorly that Mordekaiser was able to walk into my lane multiple times, and I just didn't get callouts for it. But, that's me being caught. Shout out to everyone who is listening. If you ever want to punish our team, catch me out on the sideline. Thank you.
Bro.
But no, Sprinkler was holding it down super well. There was definitely the first fight that it showed how ahead our top side of the comp was. During the Grubs fight, I think it was the second Grubs fight. I caught a Mumu out at Grubs, and the Shen ult saves me from David and Flash of Night from just a really free pick, and we turn it around to a 3-0. And so we put our top half of the map ahead, and bot lane is already getting strong thanks to just Shawarma's picking it up after the last 2 weeks and was actually like smurfing on him. And I will say, Flash of Night, it was nice to see his Azir again, because I've been trying to hype it up all series for my team, was saying, like, this guy's a Azir player. He's going to absolutely smash me mid lane. But I think it was just either due to the champion being rusty or, just it hasn't played in a while, but it definitely didn't feel as overbearing as it should have.
Hmm.
But I think game 1 is just basically done and washed out. My jungler didn't buy boots until like 20-something minutes in, which is
Oh, that's right. I
where you
remember that.
PPP like calls out saying like, man, why are they spam pinging the jungler? Like that was me pinging the fact that he didn't buy boots at all into a like 4 AP comp.
Pulled an X-ray.
Yeah, game 2 definitely. I don't think Twitch Braum is as hard losing as Ezreal Noah. I do think Braum does a lot to prevent the Twitch from getting harassed, but it came down to how the players were playing it, and I think Thim and Shawarma played it a lot better than what was it, Azure and Callista yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely was just really difficult for them, especially when Thim gets super ahead and Twitch is super behind.
Yep.
I do think Feeders Anonymous played that game much better despite the setbacks that they had, especially with the Mordekaiser getting so many early kills that like we couldn't have Sprinkler lane against him, just because like no magic mantle and magic or Merc treads and just how tanky it was prevented Kennen from actually like doing anything top lane. But at the end of the day, we played around Thim throughout the middle of the game, and I think that basically led us to our victory. It was just like getting our ADC so omega strong that all of the engage that Feeders Anonymous had was not enough to get him down. And so my player for this series was them as well.
For sure. And Venom, your thoughts quickly. We're running out of time here.
I don't know what time you're talking about. There's no time limit on this, but no, I our self-imposed time limit, I guess. But
My time
no,
limit.
this series was it's kind of boring, to be honest. Like,
Really?
I'm tired of the same old stuff. Feeders Anonymous, David plays solid top lane. Callista yourself is 0-4 in lane. Like, no, hey, I can't do better. So like, if he listens to this, like, nothing against you, but like, you've lost every lane you've played in, and if you don't lose the lane, you like side lane and tell your team to screw off. I'm gonna side lane for 20 minutes and then do nothing. Like, so I don't know if he's just like doesn't play a lot of competitive, if it's just the he doesn't play that much, whatever it is. Like I agree with Gar. Like, if you're playing Twitch Braum is not bad. I've played it with Rob. Like, I'm pretty sure DPT Gar, and I'm almost positive we got a Thresh ban and I played Braum. We played Braum Twitch or
I
something.
think that's in
Like,
the highlight video, yeah.
yeah. So it's like, it's not a bad lane. You just can't fight a Nautilus Ezreal level 1-2 when you take the worst possible trade level 1, lose your summoners, then walk up to an Ezreal Nautilus that have flash and hook. And at that point, it's like, I don't know. It was such a frustrating thing because like, it's like Flash played whatever. Gar and Flash was kind of even. I think Gar was slightly favored in terms of like gold for most of it, but it was straight up, I think, a bot lane difference. Dart Juice played fine on Feeders Anonymous. David, rough game one, but good game two. Like you guys said, he was 4-1 against Sprinkler, which, yes, Kenned's a team fighter, but what more do you want from David? He's 4-1 out of lane, but his bot lane's like 0-3, down 40 CS at 7 minutes.
Yep.
I just think their bot lane either needs to play more games together, or they need to practice as a team or something. Their bot lane just got diffed both games and then came out of lane and just kind of crushed. Like, I don't know. That's why I say it's boring. Like, PTS played really well, Sprinkler played well. PTS converted their leads. iProfit played fine. Like I said, and my player of the series was also them, because if the enemy AD is going to if the enemy AD support is going to take bad trades level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, take advantage of it. And Draven and Ezreal were both very good picks to take advantage of poor positioning.
For sure. And one thing before we move on, Feeders Anonymous, I will say, I think showed a lot more teamwork than I've seen the whole rest of the season so far. I saw them actually, like four of them going to the same play while David's like split pushes. So it was refreshing to see that. I think they are learning. They're just not learning as fast as they need to, because
I agree.
it's week 5 next week, and this is the last time they get to practice. So,
But you can't learn lane mechanics at this point.
yeah,
Like, if you can't win the 2v2, or you don't know how to play safe on a 2v2, you're not going to learn it within the next week.
for sure,
Which is like, the lane mechanics is the issues that they're having.
for
Not
sure.
as much team fighting.
But yeah, so that wraps up this week's games. But like I said, we were doing players of the series. So what we are now doing is we're going to, from those 5 players of the series, we're going to select an MVP. And since every one of us picked them, the MVP of this week is them himself. So congrats to him.
That's my ADC.
So, like we kind of just covered with him, just really good games. Game 1, Game 2, he had just had a really good showing. Draven popped off, Ezreal popped off, and that's pretty much all we got for them. So congrats to them for MVP of this week. Congrats to him. And finally, let's move on to predictions. I have to say this before we go any further. I went 5-0 last week. Thank you. Hold your replies. Hold your replies.
Well, hey, let me know when you get 2 5-0 weeks that I have.
So yeah, I would.
I fact check that.
I was. Unfortunately, I should say unfortunately. Fortunately for me, unfortunately for everyone else, everyone had a kind of not a super great week. Brissy and PvP went 3-2 for predictions, and then Venom and Array went 2-3 overall. So not the best series or best weeks for them. Great week for me. I was super proud. But that's all I gotta say. I won't rub it in anymore. So
why are you bro? I have 2 5-0 weeks and I didn't mention it. What are we on about here? Like, I'm not gonna rub it in. You're 1 game ahead of us.
Listen, I was really happy when I got 5-0
this week.
Okay,
like...
I was really happy when I got 5-0. Okay,
I know.
I can't wait for the reversal from Brissy again, and X-Ray has to put another picture on the back wall.
But let's move on to the game. So starting off, Cyberbullies versus CryPTID. Very obvious pick here. Cyberbullies going 5 across. Not a huge surprise. I just don't think CryPTID. Yeah, nothing to talk about. CryPTID. Just good luck in playoffs. That's all I gotta say.
They need Mid Too Easy and Briz to both get banned back to back, like, or both quit, like.
They just FF the series.
Or like a scheduling win. Like, there's no like.
Yeah,
I don't see a future that they can win this.
I will say, even if they get 2-0, if CryPTID can at least pull it to like a 30-35 minute game, I think that's improvement from the previous showings that they had. I just think, like, I'm saying that Cyberbullies is probably the best team in the league at this point.
Oh, for sure.
CryPTID can at least show that they have a fighting chance against Cyberbullies, of all people. Like, I still think they have a decent chance throughout playoffs at that point.
Yep. And one other thing to note is Cyberbullies is also in the same boat with the Gauntlet. If they just win 1 game, not the series, they also lock first. So we'll see how that goes. I think it's pretty likely Cyberbullies will lock first here. But we'll see. We don't know yet. Moving on, Dognitas versus Ganking Private Ryan. Everyone going Dognitas besides Brissy. Gotta pick his own team, so I definitely respect it. But I just think Dognitas, they're gonna have Jason back, so I think it's gonna be a very I think it's gonna be a jungle difference. Sorry, PvP, but that's my prediction.
PvP might have some good cooks coming, but I'm with it. I think this one's. I think it's not gonna be. I'm hoping it's a decent series, but I think Jason's about to come back and smack the hell out of GPR.
He's tilted his team last week, so he's coming back for some revenge.
Yeah, he's got the whip out. He's gonna whip Nico into shape. Even though Nico didn't play that bad.
Oh, wow.
There's gonna be 2 notepads open on Jason's stream just for Nico.
True.
One is specifically for Nico. But moving on, PTS versus the Gauntlet. 3 incorrect people picking the Gauntlet: Brissy, Venom, and Array. And
I thought I was getting my third 5-0 week this week.
Gar, of course, picking his own team, and then I'm going with Gar's team. I picked him every week besides week 2. Okay, it was a Cyberbullies week. Gotta show the support to the boys. So I honestly think this is gonna come down to the I'm spacing here. The top lane, I think Sprinkler, and I'm not gonna lie. I actually think them and Sexy Shawarma might play a little better into Heiko and Sai.
That's insane. That is a hot take and a half.
This is one of the takes of all time. I am happy
Heiko
for it,
Sai.
but it's definitely a take.
Oh, we talking about the same Sai / boy wife, the GM 600 LP who's been kind of like handling
Helping
every bot
everyone.
lane. Yeah, that person's Oh wait, did they get subbed out for like someone
No.
else? Like,
No.
oh no, they're playing. Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure I just wanted to make sure you thought the tier 5 support was going to outplay the GM support. Just wanted to make sure we're on the same page there.
I said that, and now I've kind of just dug my grave, so I'm just gonna kind of just stand by it for now. But
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I still think
I'll let you do that.
I still think I mean, it's Sprinkler into KitKat. It's number 1 top laner versus number 10 bot laner. So
No, I'll give a little explanation on my pick because obviously Bristy and Ray aren't on. Position by position, Sprinkler obviously beats KitKat. I think people are underestimating my hot daddy. If he gets like a comfort pick, like I haven't seen anything from iProfit that makes me think like, oh my god, iProfit's gonna slam them in the jungle. Like iProfit's playing well. Like I'm not gonna take anything away. He's playing well, but like he is not like OT Gator. He's not Jason. He's not Nightmare. Like he's not like crushing enemy jungles.
he picks for the team. He doesn't pick like a carry
Yeah.
and wants to carry. He picks the Nocturne to press R or
That's a contested pick in this series
yeah,
too.
so
Like unless they first blind pick Nocturne,
which
would
is
be kind of wild.
insane, by the way.
Which I'm pretty sure iProfit would have an awful time if he
Yeah.
did that.
yeah, iProfit or PTS is blue side for game 1.
It don't matter what side. Let's be real.
Yeah.
At this level, but so like setup versus Gar. No offense, Gar, but like setup's really good. Like
I think this is the first time I'll be playing against him, so I want to see how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Setup's good, and I think your mid has been slightly shakier as you're coming back to playing after playing jungle for 2 seasons.
yeah.
So like I would give setup slight edge because setup knows how to both play safe and aggressive mid. He's shown more aggression, and I think Heiko and bot lane. I'm not gonna go position by position. You do the duos, but I think Heiko Sai is just a better bot lane. I glaze them all the time. Like I talk up them, but I think Heiko Sai beats them Shawarma because Shawarma's I think gold. I don't want to misinterpret his rank, but I think he's like gold or plat. And going against a
I think
GM
he just
support,
hit plat 1. Like he's
Yeah.
grinding.
Ooh.
yeah, he's plat 1. He's grinding, but like there's people who saw last season. There's a difference between like if the support's GM challenger versus a low rank support, we know what the difference happens. Rob literally could do whatever he wanted because Dean popped off and was everywhere on the map. He was top level 3, killing their top laner. Like I don't know if Sai's roams quite as much as like Dean did, but I think the edges to the Gauntlet, but I think PTS with gameplay can make challenge them for it.
Sure. And we already know why Gar's picking it. We already know what Gar's. I wonder. But we'll move on to our 4th series, COI versus Asteria's Kittens. 3 of us going COI. Myself, Brissy, and Venom, and then Ray and Gar going Asteria's Kittens. And honestly, I think this one, so for top lane, I think it's fairly close. I think it's a slight edge to Pai. Nightmare is, I would say, favored in the jungle.
He's heavily favored. He's playing against a silver EU West jungler.
Yeah, that's
Wait, put some respect on my boy Nightmare's name. Like what? Bro said he's slightly favored against a silver player on 200
Listen,
ping.
That's
crazy.
He's been diamond. He's diamond EU.
Like 7 years ago. He's tier 5. He's playing on 150 ping. Nightmare's gonna
Listen,
crush.
I give Maneth oh my gosh, Maneth Peneth.
Mathith penis. Just like
Anyways,
massive penis.
the AK's jungler, uh, I give him some respect. Mid lane,
Give him too much. I'll be
I think
honest.
I think this is a pretty close mid lane in my opinion. I think both of these players are
Yeah.
gonna be close. And then I ain't gonna beat around
By
the
the way,
bush.
I don't know if Tubby's playing this week.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
Because
right.
I saw in the Find a Sub chat they're looking for a E1 player, which would have to be Tubby.
Yeah,
Um,
so that's
oh
right.
so
shoot.
I'm not sure um who, and obviously this isn't like some secret info. It's posted in Find a Sub chat. It says
If
like
you're a sub, you've
looking for
seen
this.
it.
Yeah, so but I still think even with a sub, as long as they find a decent like, and I'm sure PyPy and Nightmare and stuff will find a pretty good substitute around that E1 rank. I just wanted to make that
Mhm.
so it will not be, it most likely will not be Tubby versus
Mhm.
not Strand, what the heck's his name?
Oh man.
Sparks.
Or
Well,
no,
I
that's
think
works.
if PyPy goes mid, I'd still give the slight or the edge to PyPy in the
Over
mid lane.
Sparks, yeah.
Yeah. So, but going in the bot lane, I'm not going to beat around the bush. AK definitely has the advantage here versus
Yep.
Strand and Gamer D. But weak side Kings, weak side bot lane. I'm still going COI here. I just think Nightmare and PyPy are going to be able to carry this game successfully.
Same.
Gar, I just want to hear your thoughts on why you picked AK.
I think with how proactive Array is playing around the map, it doesn't matter how individually stronger COI's team might be between mid lane or top lane. I think just having Array's presence throughout the map is going to make lanes go in towards his favor most likely. And even though I do agree that like Strand and GamerD have shown that they're able to hold their own against like hiring spot lanes, it's because they're really playing the hold out that Array is able to take advantage of that and go towards other lanes to make plays. That I feel like it's going to be a lot more volatile for COI, and so I just think that Asteria's Kittens is able to actually like play or take leads into other lanes and play around that
Sure.
I can see
instead of
that.
like Nightmare, getting 2 picks bot lane and just staying there.
Yeah. Okay. No, I definitely see your reasoning there. But moving on to our last series, Feeders Anonymous versus Ship Without a Captain. Everyone going with Ship Without a Captain, but Gar, you're going with Feeders Anonymous. So
I have faith.
you have faith,
I
and
have faith.
you have faith. Okay, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
I
Gar,
one note on
Wait,
that.
wait, wait.
One note on
Oh,
this series. Borla's been playing out of his mind. I think Borla fleas are gonna win the spot lane, and then World Soup. Sorry, not World Soap. Soup. I almost said it again. World Super Splash Tonight is a very volatile match, but I think World Soup can kind of crush that lane. He's playing out. He's always played out of his mind since he joined Summit. Kill Switch has been playing out of his mind jungle over Darjuice, and I think Krezbuto is a good enough player that he's not gonna int David. And even if he ints David, David's going to be in the perpetual state of I'm winning, but my 4 other teammates are losing,
yeah. And Gar,
unless SWC drops it.
Did you have any thoughts? Or
I have faith.
you have faith? All right, we'll leave it at that. And so that will wrap up this episode of The Climb. I appreciate everyone for watching. Thank you, Gar and Venom, for joining us this week. I'm your host, X-Ray, and we will see you next week.
Bye bye.